I would like to think I'm a pretty optimistic guy. I tend to think the glass is half full. But when it comes to oil, I'm afraid that the glass is half empty.
Our lives are built around cheap, dependable fossil fuels, with oil being our driver of our everyday life. However, in the coming years, we may be having to pay more at the pump. To understand this, we need to understand a key factor in oil production. Unlike a car, which will run until the very last drop of gasoline, oil in the earth is a much different story.
All oil production, regardless of scale, always follows a bell curve. When about half the resource is depleted, the rate of extraction peaks and begins to go into decline. This is referred to as peak oil. It is at this point, under business as usual circumstances, that demand outstrips supply. Every barrel of oil from then on out will become more expensive to produce.
Our dependency on cheap fossil fuels has left us wildly unprepared for the coming shocks the oil crisis will bring. How will people react as fossil fuels become more scarce and expensive? When will this peak in oil production actually occur? And what can we do about it?
The exact dates of peak oil are not fully agreed upon. Key dates are placed between 2005 to 2020. The reason we are so dependent upon foreign oil is because we don't have any. The US peaked in 1970 and has declined ever since. It only has 2% of the world's oil reserves. Over 58 countries have reached their own all-time national peak. Therefore, it's inevitable that a global peak will soon follow. Continuing our oil-powered lifestyle will mean dependence on more unstable regimes and likely more resource conflicts. Unconventional oil, such as oil shale, tar sands, and deep water drilling, are expensive, risky, and give a poor energy return on energy invested. There is no combination of alternative energies that will allow us to continue consuming the way we do, so an energy descent is in order, meaning a gradual lowering of our energy consumption. Out of a handful of alternative energy scenarios, wind and solar seem to be our best bet. This is due to their nature of environmental friendliness, ease of maintenance and operation, and their immediate availability. However, we will have to build a new smart grid infrastructure, for reliance on the national grid is going to become cumbersome and highly dysfunctional. One important facet of this is going to be building out an electric railway infrastructure. Keeping the highway system running will require prohibitive amounts of energy in the future. Electric cars are good, but a bicycle is better. The addition of bike lanes in cities and towns will make this a very convenient and affordable mode of transportation in the future. Commercial fertilizers in agriculture are made from petroleum. For every calorie of food, there are 10 calories of hydrocarbon energy. This does not count transportation and cooking. Organic, local food is going to become immensely important, and it may be best if you grew some food yourself. Consumerism will have to be rejected, and social and economic networks in the local atmosphere will have to be rebuilt. This will probably be the hardest for us Americans, but it will have to be done. We will have to substantially downscale our economy and reject the notion of infinite material growth. If all economic activity requires energy, and oil is the most substantial form of energy, it therefore follows that peaking in oil means peaking in economic activity. Technology and efficiency can be put into place, but those are limited by their own constraints. In the end, there is no way but for us to downscale. I really hate to say this, but suburbs are basically screwed. When they were designed, they never took into account what would happen if oil and gas got expensive. As such, that will prove to be its fatal flaw. Cities will have to further develop green space and community gardens.
These may seem like hard decisions to make, but given the scale and severity of the oil crisis, it may be our best bet. The good news is that there's a grassroots movement already spreading all over the world with over 1,000 initiatives worldwide, known as the Transition Town Movement. This movement is dedicated to making positive solutions to peak oil and its twin brother, climate change. However, in order for this movement to work, we will have to act as friends and neighbors. We will have to act again as a community. And it will be up to each and every one of us to solve it. Can we heed the call to action?